Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. It is the 2 p.m. show and things go from bad to worse with Ten Hag, with Ajax looking to swoop in and take his assistant manager, Mitchell van der Gaag. I am joined with Maud and we've also got a lot of interaction coming up on this show. We've got some rankings, going to be comparing Ten Hag's team to Mourinho's team. Will Ten Hag be successful? Ranking his signings, loads of interactive stuff that you can get involved in. Going to hit the news first and foremost. I mean, Maud, welcome to the show, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for inviting me. It's good to be on a show that's not involving United playing bad, so I'm a bit more excited about the show.
Yeah, exactly, because obviously you've been on the forums a lot and you've not really had a great track record.
I think I've lost more games than I've seen United win, but I mean, hopefully going forward, we're going to get a few more wins under my belt and I can be a bit more happier on the show.
Exactly, that is exactly what we want. But starting off with the show, we have got a little bit of news coming in that we're going to get into, and it's coming in from the Telegraph that Ajax are looking at Manchester United assistant manager Mitchell van der Gaag as a candidate for their next manager. While Mitchell van der Gaag is on Ajax's list of replacement for managers, it is unlikely that Ten Hag will allow his assistant to join them. I mean, this is interesting because for Mitchell van der Gaag, it's actually a very good opportunity to go and be a manager on his own and transform the Ajax team that's doing so terribly right now. But also, Ten Hag doesn't want to be losing his partner. No,
I think he needs his assistant to stay, because one thing I've realised about a lot of managers and their assistants is it's usually a partnership. And a lot of people love to put a lot of pressure on the manager when we don't actually realise it's usually it's like an A and B. So a lot of the decisions that Ten Hag will make, he will actually run it through his assistant first, and a lot of decisions his assistant will probably be the one telling Ten Hag to do. Not on like trying to overpower him, but when you've been working for someone for such a long time and you've both been successful, you trust your assistant a lot more. And we saw that at Ajax, they were both together, and I wouldn't say they exceeded expectations, but they've done a lot of great things at Ajax together, hand in hand. You know, like I said, being at the Champions League semi-final with Ajax, getting them to how many leagues they won and all the trophies they won at Ajax. And so obviously that's the reason why he's brought him to United, because he understands how important and how valuable having an assistant manager is. So for him to lose him, I feel like that's a bit of a, it's like goosebumps. It's like, oh, like now I've got to do this by myself. I don't have that right-hand man next to me.
It'd be an absolutely huge loss, and I think people maybe at first wouldn't recognise how much of a loss it would be, because I mean, look at Mourinho. When he lost his assistant manager, his career literally fell off a cliff, and he started to come back up now, obviously with Roma, but it was the end for him at Man United, and he just took a while to recover from that. And when we obviously go to Man United quite a lot with the you know, the presses, the open trainings, and Mitchell van der Gaag, Ten Hag, they are always together. I remember going watching an under-21s game last year, and Ten Hag was there, and by his side still was Mitchell van der Gaag. So it'd be huge.
Yeah, I think Mourinho even said when he lost his assistant manager, he's never going to have another person who is right next to him ever again, because he understands how big of a fall-off that was for him. I think he even said in the interview, he said, what I'm going to start doing from now on is having a group of people that are around me, so then if one of them does leave, it doesn't affect me as much. Because when you have someone who's right next to you, Pep has the same thing. He has someone who is his right-hand man. And I remember watching a documentary, City documentary, and before every game, he would sit there with his assistant and they would discuss, it might not even be things about the game, but he would have a conversation with his assistant because he understands the importance of having a right-hand man next to you. So, I mean, like you said, I'm hoping he stays, because I don't want any more problems for Ten Hag at the moment. He already has so many things to deal with at United. This is just going to add another problem in his head, which, you know, as a fan, it's just not going to help. It's not going to benefit the club.
Yeah, it just feels like one thing after another. It's like someone's writing a script and it's like, what else can go wrong now? What else can we add into this script? It's like a drama that just keeps going and going on loads of different tangents. And everyone get in the chat as well, would you be worried about this? Do you think this could possibly happen? I mean, Ajax are going to be looking to get a new manager in. They are doing terribly. I think they're in the relegation zone.
Yeah, they're like 16th or something.
Yeah, it's really, really poor. But, Maud, I pose this question to you. If you're Mitchell van der Gaag and Ajax are knocking on your door saying, you know, do you want to be our first team manager?
It's tempting.
What are you doing?
It's tempting. I'll be honest. Sometimes in life you got to be a bit selfish, and as much as they're probably best friends behind, you know, everything to do with football, because they've been together for so long. But as an assistant manager, your goal is to always become a first team manager. Your goal, same. Look at Arteta. He was assistant manager for City for however many years, and it's really just about being able to complement the first team manager, to be able to learn from them, to be able to get that kind of guidance. And you're kind of a bit lucky as an assistant manager, because when things go wrong, no one's looking to you. only the real diehard fans really start to think about the coaches and the assistant manager. Only the real
that was when in the early days, everyone was coming for Carrick.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So people don't really get onto assistant managers as much, even though they might have a huge impact on the team. So for someone like Van der Gaag, he is obviously going to be looking to boost his career and become a first-team manager. And the best place for him to go would be to Ajax. He's from Netherlands, obviously. He might support the club, I don't know.
He knows Ajax inside and out.
He knows it inside out. He's been there. He knows, obviously, the people at the club. He would have that direct link to the club. He knows the league amazing. So it would be the right thing for him to do. From a non-selfish standpoint, it would be the right thing for him to do to go to the club. And if I was him, I would also leave. But, like I said, I hope he stays because United's a bigger club than Ajax. So if you want to really be at that level and be challenging for, hopefully in the future, challenging for Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, please stay.
Yeah.
Please stay at United. But
I mean, Erik Ten Hag needs him. I'd be on the phone saying, what sort of pay rise can we get going here? I mean, obviously...
Get the checkbook out, sign whatever number you want, take it, you know what I mean?
With the manager, you are completely right, though. You do want to go and boost your own career. If it was me, I would probably leave to go and be first team manager. But as United fans, you've got to be selfish, and Erik Ten Hag's got to do everything he can to try and keep him. This is interesting from PJ. Maybe he knows when it's best to leave a sinking ship. It's not as if he's going to...
I mean, it's another sinking ship. And one thing I will say about that is it's a bit eye-opening to see how well Ten Hag was actually doing at Ajax, because everybody said, it's Ajax, they're going to win anyway. They're going to win the league all the time. Getting to the semi-finals wasn't that crazy. I mean, look at them now. I mean, they lost Ten Hag and they're one of the worst teams in the league. Well, not the worst, but one of the worst teams in the league. So maybe we should be giving Ten Hag a bit more credit as to what he was doing in Ajax and what he actually achieved. Because, I mean, I don't watch that league a lot, but from what I've read and from what I've heard people say is their football has become so slow and a bit lethargic, and that the culture that he brought to the club and the tactics that he was using at Ajax is all gone. So it kind of shows that he was doing an amazing job at Ajax for what he had. Also,
when you think about the fact his team that got to that Champions semi-final literally got picked apart by Europe. And I mean, look at De Ligt, De Jong, Donny van der Beek ended up going to Manchester United, Ziyech. I mean, these players, and not all of them went on to have like great careers as well. I mean, De Jong's the only one that really stands out. And it's like, look at how well he was doing with that team and how much everybody wanted them. I really do think that's another thing that gives Erik Ten Hag such credit in the bank. How well he did with the Ajax team, how much they've dropped off since he left. And just everything he built at Ajax, it was obviously huge. And I mean, I think the Ajax fans would take him back in absolute heartbeat. He's moved on to Man United now. It's a completely different scale. I mean, the expectations are miles higher. The stakes are higher.
Crazy.
But on this show, we're going to get into... Do we think Erik Ten Hag will be able to succeed or fail at Manchester United? We want you guys to get your comments in as well. And we're going to talk about, you know, the hurdles he has, the signings he's made, where is this team going? And obviously, under the Glazer ownership, it's going to take a lot longer to get to each milestone. I was saying to Adam yesterday, I mean, by now you'd be expecting at least to see a cohesive style of play. We're not really seeing that. You know, you're a year in, just over a year in, and you're like, where is this style of play? But also, I think a year at Manchester United is like 3 years, really. Do you know what I mean? Because of the ownership.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, the question of will he succeed or fail at United, I don't think we can really fully answer it right now. A lot of it's going to have to be about what if this happens? What if he has a full team this season? What if he's able to bring in all the signings he wants? I mean, we're going to talk about the signings in a second, but quickly just looking at the fact that he's had so many loans, he's had so many like free transfers, and I mean, he's literally bringing in players that he had to bring into Ajax to United. So, like I said, it's going to be a big what if question, and we can look at last season. I think we should look at more of what he did last season compared to this season, because he had a lot more ability to be able to do what he wanted last season. He had more players available. He had the full season. This season, we haven't seen him play for even a quarter of the season yet. So last season is a good representation as to what he can do. And I think we should be more appreciative of what he did do last season and expect a similar thing this season to obviously how the season's going.
100%. I mean, Devils 58 Red says it takes time. Beth, look at how long Arteta took. Plus, Ten Hag hasn't probably been back this summer. That is absolutely true. And do you know what really grinds my gears? When opposition fans are like, yeah, but look at the money he's spent. And I'm like, Ten Hag didn't say go and spend 90 million on Anthony and completely overpay.
Yeah.
We could have got Anthony out of Ajax if we did it at the start of the summer for around 40, 50 mil.
Yeah.
Casemiro, 70 mil, massively overpaid. Obviously, these are players that he wanted and he needed. but he's not going there doing the negotiating.
Yeah.
So
I mean, one thing you have to understand as well, at Ajax, his budget was like 100 million, maybe even less than that. He's not, I think the record signing had at Ajax was 20 million pounds.
he had a brilliant sporting director.
Exactly. And that's something that we don't also take into consideration at United. It's not just the manager who's putting the check and writing down the number. It's a lot of people who were involved into who he's signing. And for a manager to go from, you know, having his biggest signing to be a 20 million pound player to coming to United and being expected to be signing 60, 70, 80 million pound players, it is a big jump, and we can't take that for, we can't pretend that that's not going to be a factor that's going on in Ten Hag's mind when he's buying a lot of these players. So it is difficult to try and judge him straight away over the players that he's obviously brought in.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I want to get onto something now. I want to talk about Ten Hag, because a lot of people are saying we don't want to continue this cycle of just resetting, new manager in. We've gone through so many now, and it just feels like the same cycle each time.
Yeah.
The manager has that bump where they do quite well, then they start to drop off a little bit, and then we sack them, and then it goes round in circles and circles and circles. People want to stick by Ten Hag, me myself included. You do as well,
100%.
and we really do see a future for him.
Yeah.
But I just thought it'd be really interesting, because I was talking about this with loads of different people, and I wanted to bring it into a show, and I wanted you guys to have your opinion. The first thing we wanted to do to make the show interactive and get people's opinions in is compare Ten Hag to the managers that we have had post-Ferguson. So I wanted to rank the managers that we've had post-Fergie from bottom to top, and the managers we're talking about would be Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Ole, Rangnick and Ten Hag.
Okay.
So you've got 6 there that you can rank.
Okay, yeah. Not Giggs.
No, we're not going to include Giggs, because he didn't really have that much time, and Carrick as well had a couple of games. So I wanted to get people's rankings in the chat below. Did we have the whiteboards for this? We did, actually.
Ooh.
So this is what we're bringing in. We're bringing in the whiteboard. So you write yours down, I'll write mine down we'll do it from top to bottom, and then we'll show them round, and then we'll explain our answers. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Everyone get in the chat what you guys think on this one.
Top to bottom. I'm just going to write down the names and put the numbers next to them. Just
I wish we could do a poll, but unfortunately there's not a poll that allows 6 different answers on this one. I asked Ricky this question, by the way, everyone, and Ricky said...
I'm actually curious to see his opinion.
Ricky said Van Gaal top and the rest aren't worth ranking.
I
think that's only because he bought Martial.
Yeah.
And he obviously played that boring football, didn't he?
Yeah. I think this is going to be... in my head, I'm going to have to be... I'm going to compare it based off, one, coaching ability.
Yeah.
As in, like, how well are you at your tactics? What does the football look like when we're playing it?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm going to look at. And then the second thing I'm going to look at is achievements. I think that's one thing that we can't take for granted. You know, some managers didn't win anything. Some managers won a couple of trophies. So I'm going to take that into consideration. The third thing I'm going to take into consideration...
I'm going with that.
Already? Oh, I'm not even close. I think the third thing I'm going to take into consideration is the impact they had at the club, because I feel like some managers actually brought us, just set us back so far, and some managers actually pushed us a bit further forward, but it wasn't far enough for us to actually succeed the way we wanted to succeed. So I think you should go first, because you've got yours.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll explain my answers. So, producer, which one am I going? Am I going to the middle camera? I'll go on my camera. Okay, so I'll put it down here. I have gone with, as you can see on your screen in front of you, bottom, I've gone with David Moyes.
Okay.
I've gone David Moyes bottom purely because we went from Fergie to Moyes. And Moyes is like obviously, he's good for West Ham. He's a decent Premier League manager.
Yeah.
But for Man United, it was just absolutely nowhere near. And I just remember being completely depressed that season 100%. That he was in. And the reason I've put Rangnick ahead of him, it's not as if Rangnick did necessarily a better job than Moyes, because he didn't, because the football under Rangnick was absolutely terrible as well, and also very, very depressing. I remember sitting in Old Trafford, literally depressed, wanting to cry. But Rangnick gets that spot ahead of him because he actually came out and called out the club. Yeah. He said we needed open heart surgery. Yeah. He showed he had some football knowledge in the sense he wanted 100%. To go and get Alvarez in, Luis Diaz in, Vlahovic in, and nobody listened to him. He's got pedigree. Like, he's not necessarily a manager, but in football he's got such pedigree. So I went with him as 5th. 4th, I went with Van Gaal. Ricky won't be happy with me. I know he won the FA Cup. Like, I know that. But the football was horrendous.
Yeah, it was tiring.
The 0-0s, the 1-0s, I remember sitting watching Manchester United bored out of my tree, and that's just not what you want to be doing watching Manchester United. Next, I've gone with Ollie. And yes, Ollie didn't win anything. Yeah. So realistically, should Van Gaal be ahead of him because he didn't win anything? Maybe. But we had some good times under Ollie. He did get to quite a few finals. I know he didn't go on and win them, semi-finals, finals. But there was some good games. And, you know, that counter-attacking COVID football was actually decent to watch at times. But he did set us back, I also think, as well, with the standards at the club and the signings he made, like Sancho, and he set us, and just letting players get away with things, and he did set us back. 2, I've gone with Mourinho. If I was basing it now, I would probably put Mourinho as number 1. Yeah. Because Mourinho obviously won the Europa League, which is a very esteemed trophy. Obviously, it's not the Champions League or the Premier League, but it's more esteemed than a Carabao Cup. Yeah. And he just had that pedigree, and he's a winner at the end of the day. Yeah. But the reason I've put him second is because I think Ten Hag has more potential with this Man United side. Okay, yeah. And I think Ten Hag in his first season to take the lowest scoring Manchester United team in the Premier League, as in points-wise, in the Premier League, to then get us into top 4 when nobody expected it, with the Ronaldo saga, basically not having a striker. I mean, the signings of Sabitzer and Weghorst in January, winning a trophy in his first season. I know it's the Carabao Cup, but it's still a trophy. Yeah. And I just think from what I've seen with Ten Hag, coming, setting the standards back in, the way he talks about the club, I think he's got the potential to go on and win a lot of things with Manchester United if he's backed in the right way, the right ownership. So that's why I've put him as number 1. But to be honest, it was a very big toss-up between Mourinho and Ten Hag at number 1 or 2. And Mourinho did have such good times at United, but he did go very sour towards the end, didn't it? So that is my ranking. Get in the chat below what you think. I know some people will disagree with Mourinho being second, but I just absolutely love Ten Hag, and I think he's got a lot of potential. But go on, Mods, you tell me yours.
Okay, so I like that list, but there's a few things that... Don't watch my handwriting, by the way. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
So, shall I start from the so you can see the numbers, right? I'm sorry that this isn't a weird...
in order.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But
I thought then you had Moyes top for a second. I was like, what is going on?
No way. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, David, but...
Just hold it up slightly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you have to be last. And the reason why I'm sorry is because he got hit with the most impossible task to as a manager ever. You have to replace Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson. That is almost, literally, like I said, impossible. I don't think anyone would have been able to come in, even Pep Guardiola, Mourinho himself. No one would have been able to come in and be able to, forget exceed, to just match the expectations that Fergie had. It's literally, he's the greatest manager of all time.
I've just seen, you've got 2 5s and no third. I think Ollie's third, isn't he?
No, Ali's 4th. Van Gaal's 3rd.
Van Gaal's 3rd.
I've got to change it. Yeah, sorry. Van Gaal's 3rd. My bad. Yeah, so Moyes had the most impossible task. And he came into... One thing you have to understand as well is when Fergie left, he took a lot of people with him. So Moyes had to bring in a mid-table team...
All of his Everton stuff.
All his Everton stuff. And Moyes was not, like I said, he's not a top 4 manager. He's never been a top 4 manager. He's never even had to compete for that. For him to now come into a team, a club that's just won the league, we've just lost the greatest manager of all time, and the team wasn't. I'll be honest, Fergie did overachieve with that. If you look at it on paper, he did overachieve with a few of his teams. But to be able to take that team back to challenging for a title, it's almost impossible. And he did a very bad job, and like I said, that's why I feel sorry for him. But yeah, what he did to United was painful. As in that a lot of United fans are still scarred. I mean, it's been 10 years and we've not recovered. So I'm sorry, I can't forgive you for that one. Yeah.
Someone said amazing how Moyes is playing better football than we are right now.
I mean,
different to be at West Ham than at Man United. And you've got to base it based on Man United.
Yeah, basing it on our standards. So that's 6th. 5th, I've gone with Ragnick. Again, I really agree with what you said. One thing I rated about him was that he actually came out and just said it straight, as in everything that was happening. His press conferences,
got himself sacked.
He got himself sacked, but fair enough. At least he opened up everyone's eyes as to what was actually going on at United, and he was very clear, very bold, very straight in his press conferences. This is what's happening. This is the reason why I've not been able to bring in this player. This is the reason why I've not been able to be playing this kind of football. This is what's going on. This is what's going on upstairs. This is what's going on behind the scenes. And he let everybody understand United is a problem, not just for the players, not just for the managers, but the whole club in itself is there's something going wrong. And we have to understand, he wasn't actually supposed to be the manager.
No.
Like,
he was supposed to be a sporting director.
He was supposed to be a sporting director. In fact, what a lot of people wanted was for Ten Hag to come in and him to be like, as a director, so it was kind of like a partnership between the two.
I would have loved to see it.
It would have been nice to see, but we didn't see it. But what he did do wasn't amazing, so Ragnick in 5th. I want to look at my list. Fourth is Ollie. Now, Ollie set us back. As great as it was in the first however many games it was, that we were on a little honeymoon streak. Everything was looking amazing. And Ferdinand was like, sign the check, sign whatever. Everyone was so gassed. But our eyes were completely blinded because we had been through such a tough time that
and
we didn't realize.
Our standards were on the floor.
Our standards were so low that we thought whatever Ollie does right now, it's amazing. But the reason why I put Ollie 4th and I put him below Van Gaal and Mourinho is because I feel like the mentality in the club declined when Ollie was there. I don't know what he was like in the dressing room. None of us do because we're not there. But the way how he used to act around the players that we used to see and the way he used to act in interviews and press conferences, he didn't seem to have that...
The bite.
That mentality of I'm here to win no matter what.
Ruthless.
That ruthlessness.
I know I was watching the Beckham documentary. He came across so nice.
He's such a nice guy.
He's a lovely guy, but you've got to have that streak.
You need it.
And he just doesn't have it.
He just didn't have it. And we can see that with other managers. Like we've seen it with Pep, the way how he comes out, he doesn't care about anything. He's here to win no matter what. Klopp,
Arteta,
he's here to win. Arteta, yeah. These guys, Ancelotti, we've seen a lot of these top managers, they're here to win no matter what. I don't care who the players are, I don't care what club I'm at, I'm here to win no matter what. Ollie didn't have that. And he kind of brought that mentality to the team.
To be fair, I probably should have put Van Gaal above him, but I just liked
Ollie. I liked him. I'll be honest, my original list, I had Ollie for, I had Ollie for, just because, like you said, he got to a few semi-finals.
5 finals, no trophies, someone said.
You got to 5 finals?
I think he means semis and finals. Like,
okay, yeah.
You got to the FA Cup final, you got to Europa League final, Europa League semi-final, FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, and he
probably
came second in the
there
league as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at it in context, second in the league in that season wasn't like crazy.
It was lockdown season, so it didn't really count. Liverpool won the league that year.
I don't even remember that season.
Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't the year that Liverpool.
It was
won
the year
league.
That City came first.
It was the year that City came first because we weren't coming above 7.
Yeah, literally. So. It's a great achievement getting to those finals and semi-finals, but it kind of puts into you kind of think about the reason why he's lost so many finals. To win a final, you have to be ruthless.
Also, can I just say, the away record he had was very, very good. But I suppose a lot of it was in lockdown, so there's no fans.
There is no away record.
Yeah,
it's just playing that stadium.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point I was trying to make was the fact that you got to so many finals and semi-finals and didn't win. You compare it to Mourinho. It's like the opposite. Mourinho gets to finals and wins.
Win him.
And that's the difference in mentality of managers. When you get into them later stages, have you got that mentality to teach your players? Because forgetting, the mentality of the players comes from the managers. Everyone's got their own kind of mentality to win, but the manager and even the captain, they're the ones who have to install that kind of that motivation into your players to go out there and win. We don't want to tell players to go out and have fun in a final. I don't want my players going and having fun. I want you to go out there and win. I want to win at all costs. And I feel like Ollie didn't really implement that kind of mentality into the players. So that's why he's 4th. 3rd, I'm going with Van Gaal. Again, the football was so boring.
It was awful.
It was awful. Watching it on TV was probably a lot easier than watching it at the games, because watching it at the games was just like, I'm here watching a bunch of players just pass the ball around and do nothing with it. It was so depressing. And
Ricky absolutely loved it.
I mean,
he used to watch it back 3 times over.
Fair enough. Some people might have liked it. Me personally, as a United fan, coming from what I've grown up watching United, our style of play, every club's got something about them that you can say that is the Man United way of playing. Our way of playing was always attacking, exciting football, and that's what we wanted as fans. We wanted to see United go in that team. We never wanted to see United be afraid to go at a team, ever. And I'm not saying we was afraid when with Van Gaal, but it looked like...
Didn't play Man United football, did it?
No way, we didn't play Man United football. And times have obviously changed now, style of football has changed, but the way we, as United fans, were watching... we watched Ferguson play, and the plays that he even had maybe weren't even as good as some of the plays that Van Gaal had, but they had that mentality of, we're going to attack a team, we're going to go for it, we're going to play an exciting game. We want our fans to watch us and enjoy themselves. Van Gaal just didn't have that.
This is a good one. Zero Blade 57. Louis van Gaal wasn't properly backed. Would have been interesting to see what he could have done if he was. That is so true. He came out and said he got his fourth, fifth choice sometimes.
But that's a recurring theme between probably every single one of these managers about
from maybe Ten Hag.
Yeah.
So you've got Ten Hag in second.
Second, and Mourinho first.
Is that purely for the trophy?
Yeah. I feel like Ten Hag in one season, what Mourinho did in that in his time, he even said himself, him coming second with United is the greatest thing that he's ever achieved.
That's crazy.
It's a crazy statement to make, but I can actually understand it because the team that he had, and considering he also complained about being backed, he also had a lot of disputes with players. He had the whole Pogba situation, Luke Shaw, even like I think Sanchez. Did he leave at the time?
Sanchez was just a
Sanchez at the time as well, a whole disaster. So considering that he was going through all of that, and he still managed to come second and win a trophy, I feel like he actually did very, very well at United. And it was unfortunate that he kind of drifted very quickly and we were losing a lot of games. But I think Mourinho did an amazing job for considering what he had in front of him. And going on to obviously Ten Hag in second, I probably should have spoke about first. One season he did amazing, but I'm just trying to guide and trying to gaze as to where we're going with it right now. Because right now it's kind of everything kind of bit up in the air because we've seen him do amazing in the first season, but it's looking like things are kind of retracted. And usually second seasons managers actually go on to do a little bit better. You might have a little honeymoon period at the start of your first season, but you're kind of building up a bit more in second season. You've got that second transfer window in. You're able to actually have a full season fully with your team to coach them, to guide them into the way you want to play. And right now it's looking like we've kind of gone a little bit back. And again, as a United fan, I'm hoping that it's just a bit of a purple patch.
He has had some really bad injury crisis. He's in an injury crisis.
A terrible injury crisis. And that's why I'm kind of I'm more looking forward to what's going to happen maybe like midway through the season to see if we're going to bring it back because by then we should have everyone back.
I think a big one will be Newcastle in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
And I know it's so early in the Carabao Cup,
quick.
but it's a big one because we obviously beat them in the final last year. Ten Hag's probably one of his only chances at winning anything again this season.
Yeah.
He's going to want to win that game. It's 100%. At Old Trafford. We should be winning that game. Newcastle are brilliant, but we should be winning that game. That's going to be a big test. And I think things could go either way from that.
I mean, looking at it right now, Newcastle should actually beat us. I mean, even being real, like what the way United are playing and the way Newcastle are playing.
Not at Old Trafford.
I reckon that Old Trafford ain't been amazing recently.
I know, but I don't care what team it is. Man United at Old Trafford should be giving anybody a good game. And
100%.
It's not as if Newcastle or Man City. I know they beat them, but we can beat them. We beat them in the Carabao Cup final. Yeah. We should be beating them, I think. I'll be disappointed if we don't.
100%. I'll be disappointed if we don't beat them because, like I said, we are at home and that should be the fortress. That's the Theatre of Dreams. That should be the place where if you come to us, you should be coming to United with your plan to come and beat us. It shouldn't be the other way around. We shouldn't be expecting Newcastle to come here and now we've got to figure out a way to try and beat them. They should be coming on and attacking us and trying to bring the game to us. So yeah, that is going to be a very, very crucial game. But one thing I would say about this season as well is I feel like the competition in the league has grown so much.
Escalated massively, hasn't it?
It's escalated so high and it's become, I don't want to say difficult, because as a top manager, you should always be looking to beat the best team anyway. You should never go to a season thinking, oh, as long as we beat everybody else, it don't matter how good City are. No, you should be going to the season thinking we are the best team in the league and we want to win. That's why we're going to win. But considering that you've got City who are obviously better than us and they're doing better, Arsenal who are doing very well. Now you've got Liverpool doing very well. Tottenham are obviously doing very well. Now Brighton are playing decent football, Newcastle are playing decent football, Villa are playing decent football. The competition has kind of grown so much and United have kind of slipped through the cracks and we're kind of hovering around Europa League or wherever I don't know where we are right now, but we're hovering
below Europa League.
We might be in the Conference League or even below that. But I will say this season is going to be very testing for Ten Hag because he has to now overcome a lot more teams compared to what he did last season. Last season we were comfortable. We were a bit comfortable in third. There wasn't really another team competing for fourth. Liverpool only at the tail end of the season came up. Newcastle were
We could do that though, because Liverpool started really poorly last year. We could do what Liverpool did last year and like come back. It's still early. It
is still early. But I think we do have a lot more to overcome this season, and that's going to be one of the most challenging things for Ten Hag because in some ways it kind of doesn't matter how good you play. If you're not on the levels of the other teams that are doing well, you're always going to be behind.
100%. And do you know what? I'm glad that we had different rankings there, and it's interesting to see. When I spoke about this, everybody get in the chat below Mourinho or Ten Hag, because I think that's the main one that are competing for first spot here. Mourinho or Ten Hag, I'd be very interested to see who you think would take number 1 spot on this.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's going to be interesting, like you said. I mean, January will be massive where we're at after Christmas, and we'll have to wait and see. But I really want to see what the chat are thinking.
I'm
because
interested
I
in
feel like
what the chat's saying.
a lot of people on this will think Europa League, and a lot of people think potential. And I do think it could be a toss-up, and to be honest, you could probably be 100% right on putting Mourinho top, but I just think the future with Ten Hag is bright, and it'd be interesting to compare Mourinho's team compared to Erik Ten Hag's team that he's got now. Neda says Mourinho so far. Zero Blade says it has to be Mourinho simply because of trophies. And Sean Andrew says Mourinho as of right now, Mourinho had us performing better. A lot of people going with Mourinho in the chat. Do a poll. If we can get a poll on that, Mourinho or Ten Hag, please, go in the chat. But next, what I wanted to come on to kind of just talk a little bit about the expectations of this team that Ten Hag's got, and the expectations of any Man United manager, and how well Ten Hag realistically should be doing with the set of players he has. Because we've heard so much. When our team's doing well, everyone's like, they're the best players in the world.
Yeah.
You know, Rashford's like nearly as good as Mbappe. You know, people start overdoing it, and then when we're doing bad, everybody's like, well, our team's so overrated, they're so overpaid, nobody's good enough, and Ten Hag's dealing with a real lack of quality. So I wanted to compare Mourinho's best team with Ten Hag's team at the moment, and basically make a combined 11 just to kind of see where they're at in terms of quality, and if we actually are moving forward as a club and as a team, because they are the two best managers that we've had post-Fergie. I want you guys to get involved in this as well. So, you might disagree on the plays we've put in. I was going to do the Europa League final that Mourinho had, but I thought it was a bit unfair because there was quite a few injuries and it wasn't really his best team. And then I was going through and I was looking at what player you would put in each position. I've just kind of got some players that Mourinho had in and tried to put like a good team together with it. So if people disagree with the players we've picked, I'm sorry about that, but this is where we're at. Make sure you vote in the poll as well. So the first one, this is going to get people going.
I'm going to let you start off with this.
I mean, I was going to go with Romero in goal just to make it easier for myself.
Nah, I mean, Romero's pretty good.
I mean, he won the trophy with Romero in goal.
Literally, I still put him above Onana.
Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, God. So the first one we've got is De Gea or Onana.
Do you want to argue this? Is there even an argument to even say?
I feel like I have no leg to stand on
right
now.
Literally, I think he's disappointed you. He has put you in the mud so badly.
I wanted David Raya and Diogo Costa. I'm joking. I still would take Onana, and I do think Onana will come bad. But I think we've got to talk about it, and everybody in the chat is going to say De Gea, and I would expect that, especially with how poor Onana started. I still now, if somebody asked me Onana or De Gea, I'd still pick Onana.
As in right now.
For the future, yeah.
For the next game, as in like Sheffield, you pick Onana over De Gea.
Yeah, because I want to build with what Ten Hag wants.
Well, let's say, hypothetical, we've got a final. I know this is a crazy hypothetical, that this isn't how football works, but we've got a final next week.
Don't do this to me.
We've got a final next week. You need one player to play in that final. Who are you picking, Onana or De Gea?
Onana.
Really?
Did you see the FA Cup final at the end of last season?
Yeah, okay.
Did you see the Europa League final?
Okay, fair enough. He hasn't had great finals, but in a one-off game, I'm picking De Gea all day. All day I'm picking De Gea.
In the final? De Gea's not got a good track record in finals, by the way.
Okay, but the reason why I'm picking De Gea is, the reason why we brought in Onana wasn't to stop the ball from going in the net. And I think that was the thing that kind of got on my nerves the most, because I've always had this mentality of goalkeepers that your main job should be to stop the ball from going into the net.
No, it's true.
That should be, if you can do that to the highest level, everything else is a bonus. That's like a luxury. If you can do everything else, that's great. But your main job has to be able to put the ball in the net. That's why I've always had the opinion that De Gea was better than Ederson, because I thought he was better at stopping the ball from going in the net. I know it's going to be controversial for whatever in it, but I just thought he was better because, like I said, he's a better shot stopper. And people always use that. And same with Ramsdale. I always find
modern day keepers should be able to do both. Let's be real. Look at Alisson. I mean, he's the best.
He's the best in the world. Like, it's hard to compare to the best in the world. But I mean, that is what we should be trying to aspire to get to. But going back to De Gea and Onana, De Gea is 100% better at stopping the ball from going in the net. And I think that's the problem with Onana, is I don't want to see it allowed the fact that he can't, because he can.
No,
he's good.
Let's be honest. His shot stopping has been nowhere near. And if this carried on, I wouldn't find it acceptable.
Okay, cool.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here thinking, yeah, you know, we've got Onana in, modern day goalkeeper, we're doing really well. Like, Onana's been rubbish so far. I can 100% say that. I can come in. Like, if that carried on, like, that wouldn't be allowed to carry on because he's not been good enough. But I'm saying for now, for the future, if I had to pick De Gea or Onana, I think ultimately I would go with Onana because I know what he can do and I'm hoping he's going to bring it.
Okay. But I mean...
But you can go with De Gea, so we can have a split on it.
100%. I think
I think the whole of the chat will agree with you.
I mean, probably. I think in defence for Onana, to have a ball-playing goalkeeper, you also need to have defenders around him who can also help facilitate what he can do. I think one of the problems that he's had, we've seen it in games anyway, he's got the ball and he's just looking up and he's holding the ball for so long and we're thinking, pass the ball. And I know in his head, he's thinking, I want to make the right pass. I don't just want to kick it out. I don't want to.
Considering he used to have the likes of Dzeko into Milan who could just toss
you
the ball up.
Those players at the top. And now he's got Haaland, who is a better player, obviously being able to bring the ball down. He's a better target man.
His long balls have been working quite well. I said he found his passing routes, but he's still left his gloves in Milan. But, I mean... So,
in his defence, the players around him maybe haven't been the best. He's playing with Maguire and Evans in front of him, and we haven't really had the full start. The fact that the back four has changed nearly every single game. So, he is playing with a whole lot of different players. Martinez hasn't been injured for this season and parts of last season. So, hopefully, this is a big hopefully. Hopefully, when the whole team is fit and available, we'll see a bit more of what Onana has to bring. But it is 100%.
Well, we need to. We definitely need to. I'm not sitting here saying he's good enough so far because he's not been. And
we're back in the market.
I mean, who takes top spot? The poll is complete and Ten Hag got 55% with Mourinho 44%. So it was very, very, very close. Next one, right back.
Yeah.
Damian or Dalot?
Dalot.
Yeah, I'd go with Dalot as well. Okay, the next one, Smalling or Varane?
Varane. 100%. I actually like Smalling. Let me not pretend that like it's a clear and obvious choice. I think the one thing that Smalling had over Varane is the fact that he was available. And I think that's one thing about players is if you're not available, then it doesn't matter how good you are, we can't play you. You're taking up a space in the team. You're taking up places for other players who can play, who aren't as injury prone. Varane, I think, is a very good defender. He's super experienced, way more experienced than Smalling, probably the most experienced player on our team next to Casemiro. And I think that is also another benefit that he brings to the team, being able to, he knows what it's like to get to those, playing 50, 60 games a season, get to those later stages in Champions League and cups and whatnot. And he's got this whole Rolls Royce mentality that people obviously relate back to Rio and stuff like that. But I do like Smalling, and I think when Smalling went to Roma, Roma. We saw how good he really was because he was playing amazing over there. People saying Smalling because he actually plays, but then obviously, Varane is, I think, a better centre-back than Smalling, but Smalling is more reliable, and you need someone who's reliable. I would still go with Varane, though. 100%. Eric Bailly or Martinez? That's obvious, Martinez. Facts. And then left-back, we had Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw's been here for so long, so obviously we're going to stick with Luke Shaw in that one. Ages. He's literally been here for like 8 years.
Going into the midfield, okay, Matic or Casemiro?
Casemiro. I love Casemiro. I think right now he's not playing great, and I know the comments are actually gonna go crazy because I said that. But I think Casemiro last season was actually one of our best players. Again, it's about being available. Getting those red cards, he's got a red card right now. Like it doesn't help his case, the fact that he can't play a lot of these games. But I feel like at his best, we're talking about at the best, right? At the best, Casemiro is better than Matic, and he has played in a United top at his best, better than Matic has. So I'm picking Casemiro.
Honestly, right now, I'd go with Matic.
100%. Right now, he's playing terribly, and he's got a red card.
But I would still go with Casemiro. Because I think sometimes recency bias comes into it, and it's like, I remember there was times with Matic, and I was like, I just cannot wait for him to leave.
Just slow.
But he also was really good in some games. But I would go with Casemiro over Matic.
Yeah.
I would just. But at the moment, I would be bringing Matic back because Casemiro he's not on it at the minute.
And I think Matic, one more thing is Matic was a bit more reliable right now. Like I said, if we're talking about right now, the way Matic was playing, he was more reliable on the ball. Casemiro has lost the ball a lot this season, which is one of his biggest problems that I think he's had. I think the way our midfield is playing right now, we kind of need a player who's a bit more secure on the ball because we've seen players like Eriksen and players like Bruno, they're very attacking players and they're more likely to lose a ball because they're going to be playing more riskier passes, stuff like that. So we need a player in midfield who can actually just keep the ball when he has it and maybe facilitate those other players.
Do you know what's crazy as well? Apart from De Gea, so far we've all Ten Hag players, so it shows Ten Hag should be doing better.
Or maybe Mourinho was working with scraps.
Yeah, I mean, next one. So we have Herrera or Mount.
I mean, that's.
I'll do Eriksen, should I? Because Mount's only just been here. Should we do Mount?
Who's going to be the one he's playing in front of them?
Pardon?
Who's going to be like the 10? Okay, Pogba on the 10.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Herrera or what was it? Eriksen. Herrera. I actually really liked Herrera. I don't even think he should have left. I can't remember the reason why he left, but I don't think it was footballing reasons. I think he left for something else. I think that game we played against Chelsea where he man-marked Hazard for the whole game.
Okay, Herrera or Mount then?
It's still Herrera.
Herrera. I'd pick Herrera as well.
Yeah, 100%. I'll still pick Herrera. Again, if we're looking at what Eriksen's done, I think before he got injured last season, he was vital to our team. I think he was one of the key players when it came to being able to move the ball through the midfield to the attackers. It's the fact that he can't play for long. He looks like he gets tired after 45, 50, 60 minutes. And we need players. Someone like Herrera will never get... Like I said, the game that he played against Chelsea and he man-marked Hazard, shut him out the whole game. And that was for the full 90 minutes. That's the kind of play that we need in our team.
It's something like what Fred kind of used to do, but Herrera was just so much
He's
better.
He's better on the ball. Technically, he was better. He could pass it. He could dribble it. He had
a good long-range shot on him as well.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved Herrera.
Yeah.
He was one of my favourite players, and I would pick Herrera.
100%.
So he's like the first outfield player that actually comes in
Fair
to
enough.
this. But Herrera, I would love to bring him. Prime Herrera inside midfield right now would sort us right out.
So many problems.
An interesting Yusuf said Herrera is the last proper 8 we had. Everybody in the chat is saying Herrera as well because people appreciate how good he was. Yeah. And I think underrated by a lot of rival fans too. Yeah. So the next one, this is going to cause a bit of controversy. Pogba or Bruno?
Pogba. They're gonna absolutely hate me in this chat. I don't mind, I'll take the hate. But 100% Pogba. If we're talking about as a player, we're talking about as a, in their prime, like the best?
For Man United?
Yes. Pogba was a great player for Man United. I think, yes, his consistency was poor. His injuries really set him back. But if we're talking about what, as a player, what he could do, if we're going to put, like I said, if I give you that scenario of it's a one-off game, who do you want in that position?
It's not a one-off game, over the course of the season.
Are they playing every game? They're not injured?
They're playing every game, not injured over the course of the season.
Pogba, 100%. 100%. Pogba can do everything that Bruno can do times 10. He's a way better player than Bruno. Pogba's problems was consistency. He wasn't playing good every single game. But when he was playing well, he was the best player on the pitch. He could do things that no one else on the pitch could do. He was a luxury player for us.
I remember loving Pogba.
Yeah.
When he came in, I was so excited. And you know, like every year, like me and my family did like predictions for the season, and every year I'd be like, Pogba's going to be player of the season, because I used to just have so much hope in him that he was finally actually going to, do at United what we wanted him to do.
Yeah.
But to put Pogba over Bruno is criminal for Man United. Look at the impact Bruno had compared to the impact Pogba had. Look at what Bruno's done for Man United is way more than what Pogba had. Pogba disrespected the club, I think, on multiple occasions.
Okay.
His injury record was terrible.
Yeah.
He would come out in international breaks before important Champions League games, not him himself, but like agencies around him would speak badly of Manchester United. He just let it happen. I remember when Ole had to bench him on that Champions League game. I don't think he ever showed his best in like a Manchester United shirt, apart from the few odd games when he was here for so long, whereas for France, Pogba, unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. That when he won the World Cup, unbelievable. And I think as an actual physical player, technically, Pogba is a better player than Bruno. Like,
by far.
As a player.
By far.
But Bruno, for me, is just way more consistent and a better player for Man United. I'd pick Bruno every time. For what he's done for Man United, I remember Pogba didn't even put Man United in his bio. He acted like he wasn't even a Man United player. It really annoyed me.
One thing about Bruno that I 100% agree with everything you said. One thing about Bruno is he fights for the club. He's one of the few players that I've actually looked at and thought, that is a Man United player. The way he plays is he plays for the badge. He's not just playing for a paycheck or he's just playing to get some stats or whatever. He's playing for the badge. He wants the best out of the club, which is a big difference compared to Pogba. There's a lot of times where, again, he wasn't even putting him in the bio. I didn't even think he really wanted to play for us sometimes, which, yes, that is going to set Pogba back a lot because we want players to have had played.
Every international break, I want to play for Madrid. Well, they don't want you, mate, because you would have gone there when you were on a free. You know what I mean?
But again, there was a season where Pogba was literally probably our top scorer. I think there was a season where he had, I think, most goals and most assists.
That City game when they come back to 1-3-2, he was brilliant. Like Pogba,
2 goals.
I wish so badly that Pogba could play like that on a consistent basis, because people are acting as if I'm a Pogba hater. I'm really not. I wanted him to be good consistently
100%.
so badly, and I knew how good he was. But it's like even now he's going to be banned and his career's over. He's just made the wrong decisions.
Yeah, that is true.
And you just don't want to play like that. But I think it's a good debate. It's a good debate.
I mean, one thing I will say as well is Pogba had a lot more pressure on him than Bruno did. Bruno came in January, midway through lockdown. We were playing, like I said, that season doesn't even really. I mean, you want to count it, you can count it, but he was playing in a lot easier situation. Pogba, one thing that United have done, which is really cursed us a lot, is we brought in players to save the club. Pogba's been one of those players. He was brought in. He had the whole Stormzy video, and I think it was Mourinho brought him, right? And they literally brought him in to, again, try and turn the whole club around, which is an impossible task. And a few players have been brought. I think Di Maria was another one who kind of came in to try and change everything around. These big players, Ronaldo, another one, these big players that we're bringing in, we're putting so much pressure on them to completely evolve the team, and it's almost impossible. Whereas Bruno didn't have that pressure.
Do you know what, as well, thinking about it, like, especially looking at how many Ten Hag players are getting in this list compared to, Mourinho players, Pogba had a pretty garbage team around him.
Well, you think Pereira and Lingard as his 2 midfielders, and Matic, like...
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see what Pogba could have done in this team with Ten Hag if he was on his game. I think Pogba is a physical player, absolutely unbelievable. I think had the potential to be like one of the best midfielders in the world.
Yeah, 100%.
But just, I don't think had the career he should have. Because of bad decisions as well, and injuries, records.
He's definitely one of the players who, it's like a what if. Like, what could have been a Pogba? Because, like we said before, ability-wise, again, they might get killed for this, but he's got one of the best midfielders in the world, if we're talking about ability. I think the way how he could pass the ball with both feet, the way we could shoot, the way he could dribble, his physicality, he was strong, he was fast. He was strong and fast. He could play multiple positions. His ability as a footballer, like we're talking about pure football ability, he was one of the best in the world. It's just the fact that he couldn't apply it every game. Casemiro,
Pogba, Bruno, what could have been. But anyway, let's move on to the front three. Time's flying, I'm loving this debate. So, on the right, I went with Mata over Lingard. So, would you rather have Mata or Anthony?
Oh, I feel like that's playing Mata out of position a little bit anyway.
But that's where he used to play though for us.
Yeah. As a player, 100% Mata. I think he's a lot more consistent as well. So I would definitely pick Mata as a player over Anthony, over what he's done. But it's Anthony's natural position. So if I wanted to pick a natural right winger, I'll pick Anthony. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I would pick Anthony. Like I said, if we're making a team and we said, look, we want to, and I'm thinking tactics and whatnot, I'm picking Anthony because I want to have a right winger who's gonna, be able to beat his man. He's gonna have a bit of flair about him, be able to cut in and stuff like that. But if I'm going to pick a player who's going to be more consistent and he's going to be, who has a technical ability, his touch is better than Anthony's, his passing is better than Anthony's, I would pick Mata because he can play multiple positions.
If it was like Mata at his best,
pick Mata.
I'm picking Mata every day of the week.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm picking Mata every day of the week. So I would go with Mata on that as well. Okay, so on the left, there were so many different players I could have gone for. Mkhitaryan's not really a left winger, but obviously he was a big player under United. Martial played under Mourinho, but then he did try to get rid of him.
Yeah.
We'll just go for argument's sake.
The thing is that there's 2 strikers that Mourinho had.
I could do with Alexis Sanchez even.
Oh, but he's not making it.
But he barely even played.
He's not making it. Whoever he comes up against, he's not making it.
We'll go with Mkhitaryan. We'll go with Mkhitaryan.
Okay.
Or Rashford. Yeah, that's no debate, is it?
I mean, that's a conversation. I mean, Mkhitaryan wasn't amazing for United. Like he had his odd performances, but I'll be honest, you can't compare what he's done to what Rashford.
What about Martial Prime back in the day or Rashford?
Martial Prime versus Rashford. That's a good debate, to be fair. I think they played better when they were actually playing together. I think that partnership between them, there was a lot of blossoms in it, and I actually really liked it. I'll still pick Rashford on the left. If we're talking about on the left, I think down the middle I pick Martial though. I think that's the main difference. On the left, Rashford is a lot more effective. He when he cuts in when he cuts in and even beating players. I said this on one of the forums. I think he can beat any player in the world. Literally, I don't think Martial can. But I think Rashford with his pace and even like his little technical, his little footwork and stuff like that, I think he's better than Martial. But Martial's preferred position is down the middle, so it wouldn't even really be fair to put him in, to compare him as a left winger. So, yeah, on the left, 100% Rashford. If we're going down the middle, 100% Martial.
I think I'd go with Martial on the left.
Martial on the left over Rashford?
If we were talking about Martial on his day, yeah.
Wow, well, fair enough.
Martial on his day is a left winger, yeah. I'm picking him over Rashford. I am. I love Martial. Now I would pick Rashford.
Yeah, I mean, now...
Maybe not, actually.
So
maybe not. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Not with the way he's playing.
That's a bit debatable.
Not with the way he's playing. But no, you know what? I'm sticking with it. I'd go with Martial. Martial is a left winger over Rashford on his day. I'd pick.
I think, again, I know a lot of people don't like talking about numbers, but we can't forget the numbers that Rashford's put up. I think last season he had 40 GA or something like that. And there's been seasons where he's got 30 plus, multiple seasons where he's had 30 plus goals and assists. And even, let's not forget about last season where you might want to call it a purple patch, but he was saving us. A lot of games he was saving us. He was scoring literally almost every game. And there was obviously these debates, a bit crazy debates, of comparing him to some of the best players in the world, but that just kind of shows what Rashford is capable of. And Martial obviously had the problems with injuries, a lot of problems with injuries. Rashford, the only real injury he's had that problem with was the whole shoulder and the back thing, which, you know, he had the surgery. It was a bit of a serious injury, but again, being available is better than not being available. So that's another reason why I'd pick Rashford over Martial.
Yeah, I get that. It's the inconsistency as well. Martial's super inconsistent as well.
He's way more inconsistent, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going with Martial.
Fair enough.
If we're talking about like Martial prime, I'm going with Martial. Anyway,
okay, cool.
Let's go with striker. So there was either Ibrahimovic or Lukaku to go with,
Mourinho,
and then we'll go with against. It's so unfair to bring Haaland.
Really, it's against Haaland and Martial. He played for Vegas. We can't really put him against Vegas.
Okay, so should we do Lukaku or should we do Ibra?
We can just debate the two of them.
Okay.
I would say Ibra. In that one season that he played and we won, was it a League Cup that we won? When he scored in the final.
He'd be starting up top over anybody, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll put Ibra. But I will say, I think Lukaku, his time at United was a bit underrated. I feel like people really got onto him for a lot of things that weren't. Yeah. Well, he did. His first touch was horrible. Let's not get that twisted. Lukaku's first touch was, for a professional Premier League United player, terrible. But I think what he was good at, he was probably one of the best in the league at. And I think that is being able to hold up the ball. His strength and his power was superb. And I think the season that we won the Europa League, he scored like 27 goals in that season, which is amazing. So he was a very underrated player. But Ibra just came in firing. Like, he just came in on so much smoke. No one could really stop him. I mean, I think that season he got 20, I can't remember the number, but he had about 26 goals, something like that, on his first season in the Prem. And one thing about Ibra, which everyone always says, is he can literally go anywhere and do the same thing. And he's proven it. He's done it in France. He did it for Barca. He did it for Ajax, and he'd come to the Premier League and done it. So he's shown that anywhere he goes, he is problematic, and that's why I put Ibra as one of the best strikers of all time.
Me too. When he was calling himself like the best player of all time in that Piers
Morgan
thing, I was like, bit far.
Yeah, a bit far.
A little bit far, and obviously he doesn't have like the trophies really that to back you up the way Ronaldo and Messi have. But Ibra is one of the best strikers that's been, and Ibra gets into this team 100%. Like there is literally no doubt about it. There's no point really debating anybody else. I really didn't like Lukaku, I'm going to be honest.
You like him?
Really didn't. I really didn't. He's just never been top level, I don't think. And United, you need to be top level. But so if we're looking at our team then. Okay, so we'll stay split on the Onana and De Gea thing, but you'd go with De Gea, I'd go with Onana.
That's not split. Are you still saying Onana right now?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, next we have Dalot or Darmian. We've both gone with Dalot.
Yeah.
Then we have Varane, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Herrera.
Yeah.
You would go with Pogba, I would go with Bruno.
Split.
And then Mata.
Yeah.
I'd go with Martial, you'd go with Rashford.
Okay, another split.
And then Ibra up top.
So how many is that for each one?
Are we counting Martial as a Mourinho or a Ten Hag? Should we just count him as a Mourinho?
Yeah, he's more of a... Who did he play more for? I think he played more for Mourinho, to be fair.
So if you're having... For you, you've got De Gea, Herrera, Mata, Ibra. De Gea. So you've got four. No, you've got Pogba. So you've got five.
Five from Mourinho?
You've got 5 for Mourinho and I've got 4 for Mourinho.
You've got Mata?
No, I've not. I've got 3 for Mourinho. Yeah, because you've got De Gea.
Yeah.
You've got De Gea, Herrera, Pogba, Mata, and Ibra. So you've got 5.
Oh yeah, well technically Rashford and Luke Shaw don't count really. So that's -2 off the top score.
Yeah, maybe.
So
and
technically I'm doing it out of 9, so it's 5 out of 9.
Yeah, it's weird. I've got a few less than you, but it's interesting to kind of compare it because you've got to see, whereas, what are the expectations for these managers and how well have they done with the squads that they have? Because we can both agree that they've been our best 2 managers post-Fergie.
Yeah.
But with Ten Hag, is he going to succeed at Manchester United? Has he got a good enough squad to succeed at Manchester United? Has he made the good enough signings to succeed at Manchester United? What would be your overall take on that? And in the chat as well, get your comments in down below.
Yeah, my overall take, and like I said before, it's a big what if, because right now he's not really been able to perform at the level that he wants to because of the amount of things that's going on around the club, the whole Glazer situation, which is people are forgetting. That's a huge story, or it's a huge thing that's going on in Ten Hag's mind, because he's involved in a lot of these conversations, and changing owners is a big thing for a club. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's a big thing. So all that noise going on around with that, the whole injury crisis, which obviously we could talk about, but that's a huge thing that's kind of setting him back. Then the fact that the club was kind of set a bit back with the whole Ollie situation, I feel like the mentality of the club, the culture within the club was kind of set back. He's had to come in and kind of change the mentality of not just the players, but change the mentality of the coaches. Ronaldo said in the interview himself, going to the training ground, we've still got the same facilities from 2009. You know, they've got the same, I mean, I don't want to say they should fire the chef, but the same chef from 2010. Like, it's all about having that mentality to win. And when Fergie left, that mentality to win disappeared, and it's kind of slowly declined throughout all the managers. And Ten Hag is having to bring that mentality to win back, and he's having to install it in not just the players, like I said, in everyone at the club. That's another thing to have to deal with. Then he's having problems with Anthony and Sancho and all these other little player problems where it's just more noise in his head, and now he's having to deal with potentially his assistant manager leaving. So his role or his job at United right now is probably one of the hardest jobs that any other manager in the league has. And one thing we have to take consideration as well with signings is I think he spent like 300 and something million so far. Arteta spent almost 700. Pep has spent over $1 billion. Before Arteta he's won an FA Cup, yeah, but that was, I don't really count that FA Cup, I'll be honest. But he hasn't actually won anything.
You can't just say I don't count an FA Cup.
He won 3 games to win an FA Cup.
Like,
Arsenal fans would take it, but I don't really count that as an Arteta trophy, I'll be honest. But he spent almost 700 million to be able to get to where he is right now. He's had to get rid of his captain. He's had to get rid of so many players. I think he got rid of like 29 players or something like that. He got rid of like a whole, maybe not 29, that's a lot, but he got rid of a whole lot of players and he brought in 20 plus players. Ten Hag hasn't even had that luxury to get rid of that many players.
Don't think his signings have been good enough though.
He's having to search in loan markets. Like,
That's true.
how good of a player can you get if you're looking in loan markets? That means the club isn't even really ready to sell that player yet. He's had to get Amrabat. He's been one of his better signings, I think.
The fact he's not then he didn't shift Maguire out when he wanted him gone.
Maguire's still there. I mean, we've had to bring in Johnny Evans. As I know Ricky is one of Ricky's favourite players, but that's not someone who Ten Hag wants, let's be honest. Ten Hag's not going into the market thinking, I need Johnny Evans, he was good in 2017. Like, that's someone that he's had to bring in. Again, look at the other loan players he brought in. He's brought in, who else he brought in?
He brought in Vegas.
He had to bring in Vegas a bit, so we've had 3 transfers like Ericsson, and he's not been really able to fully bring in a team that he really wants. And again, if we're comparing him to the other teams that United fans are comparing him to, we're comparing him to Arsenal, we're comparing him to City, we're comparing him to Liverpool. Look how much those managers spent before they won anything.
Especially look at Klopp as well.
He spent crazy. People think that Klopp just like he won with his team.
Van Dijk were huge.
Huge signings. Like he brought in Robertson, he brought in Salah, Mane, he brought in Firmino, he brought in Wijnaldum, he brought in Fabinho. That's pretty much the core of that team that won. Ten Hag hasn't been able to build that core yet. So until he is, and he spent a decent amount, a bit more money compared to the other managers, then we can really judge his signings and say he's done well or not done well with his signings.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that one. But I do have slight concerns about the quality of some of the players that have been brought in. But I think this I mean, this summer, when you look at him, you would say Højlund and Amrabat look successful. Mount's looking good,
Decent.
whether he's a priority, but Anano at the moment's looking bad. But
that's one of the poor ones.
We'll reassess. But last question, because I can't believe an hour's gone that quickly.
Oh, wow.
Craziness. Last question. Will Ten Hag be successful at Manchester United?
Will Ten Hag be successful at Man United? Yes. But that is depending on what you class as success. What are we saying? You want to win a Champions League or something? Or Premier League and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
You think he will?
I think he's got it in him. I think he's got it in him. And as a club like United, that's what we want. We want a manager who has that kind of, I'm going to win the big trophies. I'm not here to just let people play for fun and let's just all have a good time. No, I want a manager to come in and be like, I'm going for the big trophies. And I think that's the mentality that he has. So I think he will be successful.
I don't know why I just can't imagine United winning a Premier League while I'm still alive.
Seems so
we
distant,
will, but I hope.
I'm waiting for the parade. That parade's going to be a good day.
Yeah, I mean, under the Glazers, it feels like it's never going to happen. But 100%, if this ownership changes, I think, and Ten Hag's still here.
There's a lot of factors that have to work out.
I think Ten Hag will be successful.
Yeah.
I think he'll win the big trophies if he gets the opportunity to stay. And I think hopefully we will stick behind him. The fan base seems to be behind him.
Yeah.
And I think we've just got to stick with him because Rome wasn't built in a day. It does take time.
100%.
But get in the comments what you guys think. And do you think Mitchell van der Gaag will go?
I really hope not, but I would not blame him if he left. I think if the actual contract was on the table and they said, look, this is real, because I think right now it's a bit of speculation. It's not really rumours, but like there's just conversation right now. I think once they put it in front of him and say, look, this is here, this is real, I think he will take it, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, interesting stuff. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much. Get all your chats in down below. Mods, it was great to have you on. A bit more of an in-depth conversation. Actually, just having a bit of a debate instead of, just talking about all the depressing stuff that's going around at the minute. And thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for getting involved and having your say in the chat as well and kind of helping us along, getting involved with the interaction. We really do appreciate it. Make sure you like this video if you like this sort of content and comment down below your combined Mourinho and Ten Hag team, if you think Ten Hag will be successful, and all of your thoughts from today's show. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Mark will be back with the 8 p.m. show later. I know he does a little bit of a more chilled out vibe on the 8 p.m. show on a Friday night. Enjoy your Friday nights, whatever you're doing. I'll be out tomorrow night for the fight.
Yeah,
you going
same.
out?
Yeah,
we might see each other in Manchester.
Yeah.
Have a fun time, whatever you're doing, and we'll see you on the next one.